So good morning, everyone. So today we will introduce to you the challenge, the Digital Energy Challenge for utilities. So it will last approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes. Again, during the presentation, do not hesitate to write your questions in the chat and we will answer to them after the first part of the presentation and at the very end of the presentation. So that's the agenda of today. First, we will present to you what is the challenge for utilities, then what are the eligibility criteria, then 15 minutes about why you should apply and how to apply, of course, very concretely. And at the very end, we will have at least 30 minutes for a Q&A session. So we will take all your questions. So I now let my colleague Anne-Sophie introduce the facility and the AFD also.
Hello, I hope that everybody can hear me well. Is it okay, Clara?
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
Can we hear me? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for all participants to be here this afternoon. The Digital Energy Facility is a program financed by European Union and implemented by AFD. The purpose of this facility, of this broad program, is to tackle SDG 7 challenges, and we strongly feel at AFD that the digitalization is a main game changer for these challenges. The program, the Digital Energy Facility, encompasses 4 components, but today this webinar will be focused on the second one, the challenges and the financing innovation. The first one, very quickly, digitalization of utilities may be also of interest for you, and Clara will be happy to discuss it further with through the mails we will give to you at the end of the presentation. The first component, for your information, is also maybe also of interest for you, because it's aiming at create a large nexus network between all the actors in the industry sector and all the actors involved in this access to energy goals. So maybe I will not take too much time and go to the next slide to present you the team. So we have a big team around the AFD. Of course, we have the European Union, which is financing the program. I don't know if there is some representative of the European Union, but do not hesitate to introduce yourself in the chat, or say some words if you want. The second, as you can see, we are also 3 people from AFD involving in the monitoring of and the implementation of this facility. Cyril, Cedric, and myself. We also have the very helpful assistance of CLA with Clara. And of course, for this specific component, we are working with ENEA and AETS, which we will present the webinar today. So I give the floor to Olivier or Clara. I don't know, to pursue the presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Anne-Sophie. I will take the lead. So yeah, my name is Olivier, and I work for ENEA, and as Anne-Sophie just mentioned it, we are supporting the organization and design and management of the Digital Energy Challenge. Today I will introduce you to the Digital Energy Challenge for utilities, and I'll let my colleague Georges, who's here with us, complement my presentation, because he will be the one with Jérôme from AETS, let's say, supporting utilities and technology service providers in their application process. He will be the main point of contact for candidates in this category. But let me introduce the challenge first, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions. So what is the Digital Energy Challenge concretely? So it's obviously a major component of the Digital Energy Facility, because it proposes financing to different actors in the industry, and particularly for utilities. It's a non-negligible envelope that is provided. So I'll get back to this. The objective, the principal objective, is actually double. It's to increase energy access through solutions, innovative solutions that are digitally enabled. So it can be technologies, services, or new business models that help increase energy access. And particularly for this challenge, this category of the challenge, the idea is to improve the energy utilities performance and service quality with a myriad of services that are linked to the operation of the networks by utilities. So again, we'll get back to the different themes and the activities that are covered by the challenge. So as I just said, there are two categories, and there will be one call for projects for each of the categories annually for 4 years. The envelope, the total envelope for utilities, for the challenge for utilities, is €1 million per year, to be distributed between the 2 or 3 awardees per year. So we will this number of awardees will depend on the applications. Perhaps there will be only 2, perhaps there will be 3, and in any case, they will the total envelope will be broken down and awarded to the winners. So the scope, the geographical scope, which is very important, it's Sub-Saharan Africa only for this first edition. So yeah, again, please don't hesitate. This is really high level, but we'll get now to the eligibility criteria after giving you some idea about the timeline, but this is when you can ask any questions. So the call for projects is open. As you may have seen through digital, through social media, through the challenge platform already, and the communication emails that we sent. So it's been open for now 3 weeks, and it will remain open until the end of June. So that gives some time to apply, and to, particularly for this category, which will be rewarding collaborative projects. We wanted to make sure the timeline was wide enough for you to send your application. So it's a 100% numeric digital application. Let's stay in the theme. So you can apply online. You just have to download the application pack. The application pack is composed of the application form, which is an Excel document with guidelines to be filled in and sent back with required documents attached. In the application pack, you will also find the rules of the call for projects, which is very important because it details the different eligibility criteria, the selection criteria, and the scoring table that will be used. It details also the funding expenses that are eligible and those that are not eligible. So it's really the reference document. It's also about legal terms to have in mind. So we invite you to download the application form, and I can see that the URL, the website address, has just been given in the chat for you to visit. So once this is done and you have completed the application form and gathered all necessary documents, you can directly go to the same web platform on a different page, which is the submission page, and directly upload your documents. And this is to be done before the last minute of the month of June. So this, of course, is also a synonym of the organizations starting to review the analysis, review the applications and analyze the applications. So gradually, as we receive applications, we are first assessing their eligibility to the challenge, and then we will have, once the challenge, the application deadline has been reached, we will organize a pre-selection committee, and the pre-selection committee will decide on the qualified applications. These which will be shortlisted for the advanced analysis. And in the course of the advanced analysis phase, so you will of course receive first answers and responses to your applications, and then the advanced analysis will start, and we'll run interviews with the project owners to refine their needs, to understand the business model, and to review as well the analysis based on the prioritization criteria. And then the shortlist will be submitted to the selection committee, and the jury will decide on the final challenge awardees. So, of course, just after that, in September, October, we will organize an award ceremony. Perhaps it will be a remote ceremony, and depending on the current context and the current sanitary context, we will try to attach this ceremony to one major industry event, and we'll get back to you with the final dates for these events. And then in November, we'll be organized a boot camp, a joint boot camp for the winners of the Startup Challenge and the Utility Challenge, for them to share good best practices, to share insights. Why not to create partnerships beyond the challenge, and to benefit from advice from sectorial players and other experts of the sector, and which is also which will be helpful. We will refine the scope of the technical assistance which may be provided on top of the grant amount. So I'll move forward, and please, Clara, don't hesitate if you feel like this there is a question that's directly relating to what I'm presenting.
No, there is a question about eligibility, but I think we can wait a bit. First, maybe introduce the next slides, and we will come back to that after the slides about eligibility criteria.
Okay. Perfect. And yeah, perhaps I forgot to put my video, but perhaps it will be better if you see me. So now about the eligibility criteria for the entities, and then we'll mention the eligibility criteria for the project, and more particularly the thematic scope to be covered by the project. So this is very important. The idea here with the utilities challenge is to promote and reward innovative projects that are public-private partnerships. So public utilities must apply in partnership with innovative technology service providers, which are startups that are already mature. You know, it's a startup that have already demonstrated the resilience and the viability of their project, and are wishing to find new partners to develop their innovation that is more relating to utilities. So utilities, you have here an exhaustive list of the different, the typology of utilities that are eligible to the challenge. So I'll rename that list so that everyone is has a good understanding and we are all aligned. So these could be public electrical power companies and organizations. And in that sense, we mean asset owning operators. So vertically integrated utilities, generation, transmission, distribution utilities that are non-vertical, public mini-grid operators, independent system operators or ISOs, the power pools and regional organizations, energy regulators, rural electrification authorities, and public organizations in charge of biomass resource preservation. This could be the Ministry of Forest and Biomass. And so then for the technology providers, technology service providers applying with the utilities, they have to be formally registered. They have to count more than 5 employees, have less than 50 million euro of annual turnover, and less than 15 years of existence. And to nuance this, they can be perhaps more than 15 years of existence, but the project that they are submitting must be recent, innovative, of course, but recent and developed to be developed and ramped up in the context of the challenge. So what is important to have in mind is that there are non-eligible utilities. So as we said, public, we are focusing on public utilities. So private electrical power companies, organizations are not eligible. Independent power producers, neither, and electrical market players, which do not own any assets. So the pure retailers. And non-eligible projects now are projects relating to coal-fired power plants, projects which produce electricity from fuel oil or diesel, and infrastructures, any infrastructures associated with an exploration unit for the production of or storage of fossil resources or to produce electricity based on fossil fuels. So again, this is detailed in the document, which is the call for project rules. But I think it's good to start with this and to for any utilities who which joined us today to have this in mind.
Olivier, maybe we already have a few questions about this slide. Could we try to understand some of to answer some of them?
Sure.
Just to be very precise, we've got 2 questions by Kyle Hamilton and Serine Diop. So they are private operators, but they have like delegations, public service delegations, and they ask if they are eligible.
Yes, so that's a very good question, because it's somewhere in between the 2 criteria that we just shared. So I think on a case-by-case basis, it's and Sophie, you can complement my answer, but on a case-by-case basis, we there is some flexibility in the framework of the challenge and the eligibility criteria, and in the context of public service and delegation, I think this can totally be looked into.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Olivier, for this answer. Yeah, as it has been explained in the chat, in some environment, I think we can consider as eligible some private utilities doing public working on under concession and doing proposing public services. So do not hesitate to contact ENEA for your specific context, and we will answer swiftly.
I will put the email address in the chat. But there is also another question. It's, can the service providers apply in partnership with the utilities? Meaning, can service providers lead in making the application?
Totally. I think, and George, also you can tell everyone what you think. But to us, it doesn't matter which entity is leading the project, as long as both entities are aligned on the scope, on the different milestones, on the resources that will be used for the project. And you can also imagine some kind of third party helping both entities develop their consortium and their partnership, and having this third player lead the project submission. So and the technology provider or service provider can totally take the lead, and sometimes it will also be the case. And to answer another question that I see here, there are some. So there's a question about the service providers applying in partnership with utilities, and another one about private, for instance, private mini grid operators. So this is typically the kind of project that can be eligible with a private mini grid operator seeking to develop in a given country. And instead of doing it by its own, this private operator, let's call it the technology provider, will contact the utility in charge of distribution in the country, and try and set up a partnership to electrify those areas that are not covered by the grid and by the public service. And this is typically the kind of project that we aim to foment. One precision is that we won't be the ones putting you in touch for questions of neutrality and partiality. We won't be the ones putting you in touch and constructing the partnerships with you, but we can definitely at some point organize or send you emails of contact to tell you, okay, we have some questions and some interest from on the one hand technology providers, and on the other hand we have utilities which are interested but don't really know which service providers, which startups can help them in implementing this solution, this need that they identified. So we will try and give access to this database, but we won't be building the consortium or the partnership ourselves.
Yeah, there is also a question from Miriam Peña-Roya. Is it a requirement for the technology solution provider to be local?
No, so it is not. It's let's say an advantage, a plus, because it's it means that this service provider or this technology provider will have a good knowledge of the local context and the local actors, but it's not necessary. It's not compulsory.
And there is also a question from Mangula. Kindly clarify the €1 million envelope.
So we'll get back to this.
Okay, but, and are we limited to one utility company, or can we have more than one in the project?
In the sense of your company being a technology provider and applying in partnership with one utility, and you want to know if in the context of one same project you can apply with two utilities. So for instance, transmission and distribution operators, if I understand well. Well, that was not part of the initial conversations we had when defining the criteria, but again, there is some flexibility, and we can definitely look into such proposal and get back to you. So please don't hesitate to give us more details and download the application pack to see if there is room for your project to fit in.
I think you can move on, and yeah.
Yes, so now about the thematic scope that will also define the eligibility of your project against the activities that are eligible. So the first main theme is about universal energy access. So this will cover innovations in, for instance, public satellite imagery, mini-grids and standalone systems, computer image processing. These can be solutions that are on-grid or off-grid and that will complement the services of utilities. Then you will find the second theme, the improvement of grid management and quality of service. Here, yeah, the aim is to propose solutions and tools that will enable the reduction of grid losses, the power outages, so reducing technical and non-technical losses, improving the continuity of the service, and improving the quality of service for utilities. And the third theme is covering all solutions that enable a higher integration of and higher penetration of renewable energies into the power system. So this is also quite a broad scope, but you can imagine solutions around the grid flexibility and stability in the context of more renewable energies, how to manage renewable energy production sites. So when you think about renewable energies, you think about biomass, hydropower, solar, and wind. How to mix renewable and non-renewable sources to optimize the mix. So these are all the solutions we can think of, but of course this is not a non-exhaustive list, and your project can be covering another solution, another need.
Maybe, Olivier, there is already one question about this slide. Can we address more than one theme in our project?
In that case, you will have to submit different applications. The idea is to really focus on one theme per application. So you could totally think about one project on universal energy access and apply within this theme. And if you feel like your project is also covering, for instance, the improvement of grid management and quality of service, you could also apply in these teams separately. My advice would be to perhaps focus on the quality of one application only to maximize your chances. Okay, so I think I'll move to the next slide, and we can cover any questions specific to your project at the end of the presentation. So we mentioned eligibility criteria that are criteria that will be prerequisites for your application to be considered. And these are two selection criteria as well that are, let's say, mandatory for your project to be eligible and to be qualified. So we mentioned already that the project must be local. So as we said, the technology or service provider doesn't have to be local, but the project itself must have project management activities set up in the country where the activities, the project take place, and at least one full-time employee working in this country. And then about digital, so the digital aspect of the project, you could see this with two different options. So either the digital technologies are at the core value proposition of the core value proposition of the project, meaning that the project is developing technologies, digital technologies, and commercializing them to the market, or the project uses digital technologies to enable the business model to work and to deliver value. So I'll then move to the prioritization criteria, which are the criteria, three criteria: innovation, impact, and economics and risk. That will be these criteria will be used for prioritization purposes and to rate the projects between them, and in a transparent way give feedback to all applicants, all qualified applicants, on the final score they received out of 100. So for each criterion, you will have a score between 0 and 5, and a weight attached to this criteria. So 8 times 5 equals 40, 7 times 5 equals 35. So that means 75, and then 5 times 5 equals 25, and you have the final score of 100. And under these different criteria, you will have specific things to take. So the project must be innovative, either intrinsically, so in the sense that it's bringing a service, a technology, a product that hasn't been developed yet and is not available on the market, or in the sense that the innovation is perhaps existing somewhere else but hasn't been deployed, implemented in the local country that is the scope of the project. So then in terms of impact, it is really important, and you see that it's the maximum weight attached to this criteria, that the project brings is able to be replicated, and that it is scalable. The idea is that also these partners can try and cover a very large perimeter, a very large area of the country, and perhaps why not help replicate this business model in the neighboring countries. The ambition is to address barriers that are not addressed today, and that's the core value of innovation also. But the impact, it's in the sense of impact, is that so many technologies and innovations are existing somewhere else, but are not addressing barriers that exist in sub-Saharan Africa. And the positive externalities, it's also really important that the project brings socioeconomics advantages for the populations. So in terms of job creation, in terms of CO2 emissions reduction and other environment related benefits, women empowerment, education, and children benefits. So this is all for impact. And regarding economics and risk, the ambition is to have quality applications with sound projects that are able to justify sound economics, and that have project owners that have a real expertise in the knowledge of the sector, of the country. So we will be paying attention to the team of experts leading the project, and also about the resilience and let's say anticipation of any risks that could affect the project that, yeah, these have been identified and that there are mitigation plans attached to any risk that are foreseen. And also, of course, we will pay a special focus on ESG risks, so environment, social, and governance risks. So should we take questions right now?
There is one question, yeah, maybe from Cholo Matlala. What happens if the technology exists locally and the application is about replicating it in other utilities locally? Is it eligible?
Well, if the, sorry, George, you want to take this one?
We can answer in the same way that you already answered. We can be flexible and think of it. At first, the answer is no, but why not? I think we have to analyze the solution.
Yeah, if you know, it's always the same with. I guess the parallel would be that you don't want to launch an initiative or a startup because you think it already exists. Sometimes things or technologies, solutions, companies exist, but they are simply not working or they are not focusing on the right thing. So perhaps you will be launching a technology in a different way, in a business model, following a business model that is different and that is more innovative. Perhaps you will resort more to digital tools and solutions. So I don't think this is a barrier. And as George just said, we need to look into the value proposition and see if this is fitting the criteria. I hope this answers your question. Okay, so I'll move to the next slide, and which is really important, and will give answers also to one question that was raised earlier. So what is there to expect for you with this challenge? First, of course, we mentioned it, the envelope, the grant that you can have if you are selected as a challenge winner. So when we mentioned the 1 million envelope, so this is to be distributed between 2 to 3 utilities. So let's take the example of two utilities that are awarded for the 2021 edition. So you will have one utility, for instance, getting 600,000 euros and the other one getting 400,000 euros. That's a configuration, an illustration to make you understand how the 1 million euro will be distributed. And then it will depend on the project needs and what are expressed, the needs that are expressed by the project owners in the application, and also of course the soundness of the project, and then the envelope will be decided on. So this is including technical assistance, and technical assistance can take several forms. It can be technical expertise, project management assistance, project ownership assistance, reporting tools, can be strategic market expert advisory. So this will be optional and really based on the needs of the project owners. Sometimes the service provider will be also bringing some expertise and assistance in implementing the digital tool. It is bringing to the project and to the utility. So it will really be given on a case-by-case basis. And the maximum amount for technical assistance within the envelope will be 105,000 euros. Another benefit to expect is the bootcamp I mentioned earlier, for startups and utilities to create synergies, for them to meet during special events, and also benefit from expertise from the sector, from AFD and ENIA, AETS networks. This will be the occasion to also refine the needs and the project timeline. So this is really an important event for the awardees. And then, of course, all along the challenge, there will be social media campaigns run, piloted by AFD and its partners to give more visibility of the challenge, and of course of on the awardees. So this is true for challenge winners, but of course, and I think Anne-Sophie mentioned it, this is also an opportunity for everyone applying to get more visibility, to get in touch with other industry players, to understand what are the expectations from the market, and what are the gaps to be filled, and the limitations of the projects. So we really feel like this project will bring benefits even if you don't win this year, and you can of course apply again in the following year if you need some time to find a partner and to have a sound project to propose to the challenge. So this is to bear in mind. And another benefit for all applicants is that you will benefit from workshops, events, meetings. This meeting is also an occasion for you to better understand the expectations from donors, for instance, and also get in touch with other industry actors throughout the continent. So these are the advantages of the challenge, and why we warmly encourage you to apply to it. So I think I'll move forward and we'll take the questions afterwards. So to complement what I just said about the let's say the awards and the benefits and the support, really it's important that you understand that we are not just launching this challenge for you to apply, and we'll only look at the applications in July. We are present throughout the window of the application phase, and you will find already embedded in the application form some guidelines to help you fill in the application files. You will find also on the website FAQ page, Q&A page that is regularly updated and will be after this webinar session. So perhaps some of you were already present this morning, and we already ran some webinar information sessions for the startup challenge. So you will find on the FAQ page all updated information after this after today. And then we also try to minimize the constraints for awardees once they've been chosen. So a biannual reporting template will be provided, and already, as I said, there's a grant agreement template that can be found in the application pack. So for you to understand the legal terms and also the specificities of the grant provision. So don't hesitate to have a look and download the application pack. And what's also important is that projects will benefit from a close follow-up, not only during the award process and the definition of the project. And yeah, it's up to 18 months after the award ceremony that you will benefit from close support. And of course, this is also linked to the fact that the funding will not be dispersed on a bulk payment, but through installments, and that at the moment of the grant agreement finalization, you some KPIs, some targets will be fixed, and some milestones will be defined for the money to be dispersed. And yeah, so again, as I see in the chat, Clara is giving giving back the links to the challenge platform and how to download the packs. So a quick reminder again of the process to apply. So you just have to visit the challenge website. And on challenge website, you will find a button which is the pre-inscription, which is leading you to the pre-inscription form. So it's a really small form where you give your name and email, and then you are redirected to the download page of the application pack. You will also receive a confirmation email once this is done. Then you'll have some time to complete the application form, prepare the required documents, and go back to the website. And there is also another dedicated page for you to submit your project and upload your documents. And let me remind you that this is to be done before 11:59 p.m. on the 30th of June. And this is very important that if this isn't clear and that you have trouble with the process and or with the website, again, please don't hesitate to contact us directly through the email address contact@afddigitalenergychallenge.com. We'll be happy to try and resolve any problems you may have in the process. Yeah, so perhaps we can see if all questions were answered during the presentation, and if there isn't any other point that was not raised and that you want to discuss right now, we'll be happy to do that. And we still have half an hour to discuss, so don't hesitate.
Yeah, and I just put in the chat all the URL that you may need, so as well as the email address. So you just have to basically copy all these links and save them somewhere.
If you're more comfortable with asking your question orally, please don't hesitate to tell us, and we'll unmute you.
There is a question from Mangura. Is it a minimum of 1 employee or a minimum of 5 employees for the tech partner?
For a tech partner, it's 5 employees.
There is a question from Eric Seguin. The presence for the employee, the local employee, is it required to be 100% of the time, or can it be a field missions in country?
What we set as Lgbt criteria was to have at least one person is 100% of the time present in the country. The idea is to have some kind of local office with a full-time representation at the office.
I can see it is questions about the startup category. Yeah, so there are 2 questions. There was first a question at the beginning about the startup category. What is a startup? What kind of startups are eligible? For this question, I will put the link. So in the brochure, you can already find some of the questions, because the brochure, I put the link in the chat, but the brochure is presenting both categories. So you can find a lot of eligibility criteria for startups. And I will put also the link to the website, the challenge for startups on the AFD.fr website, so that you can find all the answers to your question there. But I think now we will not really develop that, because the aim is really to talk about utilities and tech providers. And I see we've got more questions. Yeah, from Yves Andrea Noavi, technology partner can be local and international, right?
Yes.
Yes, totally. I just see that someone has trouble hearing us,
yeah.
so please let us know if other participants have trouble hearing what we say. But I feel like this person Mangula as this is only from your computer, I guess, or your.
Yeah, he cannot hear us,
connection.
so I will write in the chat that it seems that is on his side.
Yes. So and also there was a question about applying in the two challenges. So
yeah.
I sorry, Clara.
No, it's fine. You can go.
I'll
Yeah.
take this one. So this we don't see any problem as long as you your startup is respecting all the eligibility criteria in the two challenges.
And for a question from Jagger Buembelo, is it mandatory for a public utility to partner with a service provider?
Yes, it is. The idea is to reward public-private partnerships and collaborative projects. So public utilities must find a partner.
I think that's all for now. So for startups, I just put in the chat the link if you want any precisions. Yeah, if you have any questions about the eligibility criteria, especially, you can find all the answers on this webpage. And again, if some questions are still there, just write us an email, and we will be happy to answer.
Yes, I will then jump to the last slide.
Yeah. Yeah, so for the last slide, yeah, so that's the the FAQ section. I put it in the chat, so you can find this URL already. So again, for the challenge, for the call for projects that we are talking about today, the email address is contact@afddigitalenergychallenge.com. And if you have general questions related to the digital energy facility, really in general, then write to def@afd.fr. But about the challenge, it's really contact@afddigitalenergychallenge.com.
So yes, to also try and be of any help here. As I just I already mentioned, we are conscious that the challenge here for this challenge is to be able to set up partnerships and collaborative projects. This is why we kindly invite you to send your questions and even ask us if we were let's say aware of some utilities. If you're a technology provider, if some utilities expressed interest and are looking for providers, are in the opposite way. If some utilities contact us and want to know if there are technology providers which could fit in their needs to apply to the challenge. Again, we won't be helping you drafting your application and setting up the partnership for you, but we feel like it's our responsibility also to give you transparency and visibility on what is the kind of partnerships you could create if you don't have enough context on yourself.
So maybe we wait 2 more minutes. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat.
Yeah, okay, so
yeah, I think we can then just close the webinar.
Yeah, we can conclude, and so thank you everyone for participating in this session, and we are looking forward to receiving any applications from people present here today. And again, we will never insist enough. We are also here to support you in the application process. So, and to reply to any questions. So don't hesitate to contact us.
So, as Olivier was saying, if you have a project in mind, but you don't have a partner, so don't hesitate in contacting us.
Yes. And Sophie, yes, you want to perhaps,
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for Enea for the presentation and all the participants for their interest. And I would like also to strongly recall you on the fact that it is important to if you have something project ongoing project to apply and do not censor, because as mentioned by Olivier, the benefits of such facility really goes beyond the money and the technical assistance. It can really increase visibility and the network, and we hope to see you very soon. So thanks again for your participation, and I hope to that we will receive a great application form.
thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.